Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday night 180 information training Zoom. Super happy to have you here. Kevin Kempton, one of the creators of this program, will be here with us any moment. And I have two of my beautiful, amazing friends and business partners on here with me that I am super excited to introduce you to. So let's wait a minute and give everyone a chance to hop on. Make sure you have reminded your teams or your people going through the program to hop on with us. And there is Kevin. Awesome. Hi, Kevin.
There we go. I think I got my mic working now.
It's working.
Howdy,
Hi.
everybody. Sorry for my
Hi.
crazy background. I'm in a closet.
It's a very fancy closet.
Hey, wherever you have to do it, get away from a wife and 4 children, we understand.
At least the shirt matches. So
Yeah, you've got the theme going on. It is very dry here in the desert of northern New Mexico. It's quite brown, so I've been fantasizing about palm trees and oceans and the greens and blues in my life. I want to introduce Gloria and Veronica. Kevin, I think that you already know Veronica. She was in the initial beta group and rocked it. And VK, I know that you just went through, did you go through your second round? Third round recently?
Summer, and then I'm starting my next round on Thanksgiving.
Go girl. That is so exciting. And Gloria went through the program back in the spring, maybe in May.
Yeah, April. Yeah, April, May last spring.
Okay. So yeah, she went through last spring and had incredible results that we will hear more about in a moment. And then she just finished her second round. We did it around the same time. I just completed my second round also, and I'm in maintenance right now. So yeah, we're all in it and so happy to be here. So thanks, Kevin, for having us.
Oh, you're having me. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to help out. Sorry, I got my computer. If I'm typing, my computer might bounce. It's on like a little platform. So I'll get a final office finally established once I'm done remodeling everything for Becky. But she keeps pointing at things and saying we're gonna do that next, and so everything's torn up.
All we see is the beautiful beach with the wind blowing through the palm trees behind you. So we're unaware of any of the other details. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. What do we want our focus to be today? Should we go around and kind of hear from these beautiful ladies what their experience has been?
Absolutely. I'm here as a guest. So you guys, that's why you're here. I mean, people hear your stories, your real people, real results. I love those taglines. Always use that, real people with real results. You know, you hear so many programs and it's like, hey, there's this one girl, this one guy in Oklahoma that lost all this weight, you know, and it's that one person. But in this reality, it's every person that follows the system has a great story to share, and people hearing and seeing that. Veronica, you have a powerful story. I know I've heard it before, you know, going from, you know, okay, I'm going to give this thing a try to, wow, this is actually doing things for me, right? This is actually helping change me in a positive way for where I want to be. It's not just a, you know, it's not just a vanity grab. It's doing things for people. And so, yeah, let's hear those stories. Remember, this call tonight is the Thursday night call is how to do the program. So we want to hear those stories and then answer people's questions, go through a little bit about the important details they don't want to miss. You guys have gone through, Darren, I know you went through and had some learning curve the first time, right? So we want to help people avoid that learning curve, right? Help them have a great round the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd love to jump right in. You totally queued me up there, Kevin. Thank you. So hi, everybody. My name is Veronica Kelly. And if you are just doing this for the first time, hold on to your seats. You're in for a wild ride of awesomeness. And if you're a coach or you're just joining us again, welcome back. We're excited to learn and grow with you guys. So thanks for having me. Yeah, so I'll keep it brief so everybody can share and we can answer some questions. But I wanted to touch quickly on what Kevin had said. I actually revisited my first book the first time I went through it just recently. And I had as my initial goal 10 pounds. And I thought, just because, you know, my background is as actress, model, yoga teacher, athlete, and I've tried everything in the world to lose weight, healthy stuff and unhealthy stuff, just to be real. And the thought of losing more than 10 pounds in 1 month was unfathomable. Just, there was no way I thought that could happen, let alone in a healthy manner. So that 10 pounds was my goal. And then within like the first week and a half, I surpassed it. So at the end, I ended up losing 17 total and lost 28 inches off my body. And it's just crazy results. But I love that what Kevin said, that's everybody, because so many people, like the first time when one of my new clients comes in and they want to lose weight, I'm like, what is your goal? And they're always like, oh, 8 pounds or 11 pounds. And I'm like, yeah, okay. If it was a magic wand, what would your actual goal be? Because you're going to hit that easy if you stick to the program. So with that, I just want everybody here, if you are on your first time through, just really dream big and allow yourself to set goals that are outside of your comfort zone. Because for me, once I started to hit my goals, I had a lot of emotional stuff come up, like a lot of programming, a lot of limitations, a lot of body image stuff. And so I personally lost a lot in the first couple of weeks, and then it kind of tapers off and you lose a little bit less than you do the first couple of weeks. And if you have any type of stuff, it's going to come up. So just really reach out to your coaches is like my biggest piece of advice, is whoever your coach is, and get a buddy and have that open dialogue. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask a question on the 180 page, the Facebook group. There's so many of us that have gone through it and are willing to help you. So it's really important that you take accountability, because the opportunities that we possess here with the 180 is so much more than weight loss. You can really redefine and change your entire story about yourself, about your health, and about your relationship to food. So just kind of touching on the mindset and a little bit about my story. And then I'm sure we can go through some tips about how to actually execute the system. But I just wanted to touch on that since you so eloquently led me right into it, Kevin.
You're welcome. And if I could touch on real quick before we jump on, Veronica, one of the things that you said and touched on there is I've coached people over the years. I get what you said all the time. Hey, if I could lose 10 pounds in my first month, because the belief structure is it's just not going to happen. People have tried so many things. And so the women, when I coached, we do our retail business. When we did that, 85% of our customers were women. And as I coached women, I say the age group of say 40 plus to 60, right? Women who have bought into the, hey, you're past 30 now, you've had kids, this is just the new you, just get used to it. Every single woman I coached personally in that category that wanted to got back to the weight they were when they got married, most of the time 20 to 25 years earlier and before kids, right? And the thing was, once they got done, like you've run to the first session, they were like, oh, wow, this really is going to actually happen. And they come back, hey, can I do another session? I'm like, sure. And they lose that weight. And then sometimes like, hey, let me do a third session. I'm going to get right down to where I want to be. And that is so fun to hear that. And then hear all the stories about how they go shopping in the back of their closet, a dress they haven't worn in 15 years. Or my favorite was one of my 42-year-old ladies actually went to her 16-year-old daughter's closet and pulled out clothes to wear, which really ticked her daughter off because her mom fit into her clothes at 42 after having 3 or 4 kids. So anyway, so I love that piece of that story.
About that. I want to add just really, really quickly. I had, during quarantine, we weren't allowed to go shopping, and I went on a retreat and I had to have a white outfit, and I bought a pair of jeans and I bought them a size too big at Target because I was like, just in case I can't try it on. Couldn't fit into them, never got to wear them once. And then 2 weeks into the 180, I was like, I'm gonna go just give these a little try. And then they were baggy.
I'm going to jump in for a second because I just had that where my stepson is 14 and my boy's 7. So sometimes I'll like go on Gap and I'll get them like organic matching PJs or like camo sweatpants that match. I can't get them matching stuff that often, but like when I can, I do. And so I had ordered them a matching pajama set that was 14-16. And then I ordered a pair of camo sweatpants that were that were size 14. And they came in the mail and I was like, is there any way that I can fit in these? And this is like a kid size 10 sweatshirt. I mean, I'm short, I'm 5'2", but I legit I didn't, my stepson, I'll order him something different. They'd actually be too small on him. So I'm wearing a size 14 kids pajamas and sweatpants from the Gap. And I'm like, I can't believe that I can actually fit into that. So yes, going to your kids' clothes and stealing them before you give them as presents, is that allowed? Because I just did that and it felt awesome.
It is totally allowed. And those are the awesome stories. I mean, that's great. You probably didn't tell me you got them, right?
No, I didn't tell him, and I will totally order more, but they're going to be, he needs an 18 now because he's way taller than me. But yeah, I just hit this last round. I lost over 12 pounds and I got down to my pre-pregnancy weight that I haven't been at in 8 years, which feels incredible because my body loves to store fat. My body like really knows how to do that. And it's a process for me to let go of that, you know, and return to a greater level of metabolic health. And this program's been so awesome. And I have more maintenance questions and like details to chat with in a little bit, because it's like the program's so structured, and then we go into maintenance. It's like, how could I possibly get 150 grams of protein? Like, it's a thing. So that's where I would love to ask some questions. If other people want to hear about that too, you can let us know in the comments, or shoot your questions out. Gloria, I would love to hear from you. It's been so fun to get updates on your journey, but I haven't actually really gotten the download.
Yeah, so I have a little bit different experience, I think, than a lot of folks, in that I haven't been very worried about my weight at all in my adult life. I didn't even own a bathroom scale when the 180 came out. And I thought, oh yeah, like I'm not overweight. I'm just curvy, but like I could probably stand to lose 5 or 10 pounds. And then I bought that Renpho Smart Scale and I stepped on it for the first time and I hooked it up to my phone, and it was like a big wake up call. Well, actually, Gloria, you are overweight. And in some categories, like the body fat category, I was in the red zone, which is obesity. And was 153 pounds. And, you know, I went and I wrote down all my numbers from April 24th, 2021 to like now where I am at my circle weight. And it's just incredible seeing the difference and like really feeling it in my body, what it feels like to be in the green zone in all of the areas now. And like just being at a healthy weight, being at healthy subcutaneous fat, healthy visceral fat, everything. I mean, even my metabolic age when I first started was 3 years older than I actually am. And now on most days it matches my actual age, and sometimes it's a year younger. So that is really fun. And, you know, I'm just fitting into all of my clothes better and feeling better in my body, feeling better about my relationship with food. I didn't lose tons of weight either time. I lost 25 pounds total over 2 rounds, and about half of it each time. So 12 and a half pounds the first time, 12 and a half pounds the second time. And yeah, it's just been like incredible to feel so much better. And it wasn't hard to do the diet. I mean, I did feel like my life kind of revolved around it, but it wasn't hard and I wasn't hungry. And yeah, it just feels really good to be in that healthy green zone and just to have a new awareness about what health and weight means for me. And like, you know, I'm still curvy, but I'm not overweight anymore. And my doctor was so excited when I went in for my annual, and she hadn't seen me in a while, and she realized I'd lost 25 pounds. And she just said, "You must be so excited." And it was really nice to have that acknowledgement from her too. And yeah, just feeling lighter and brighter. And another thing that what I was able to accomplish with 180 was, after years of being mostly vegetarian, was to be able to reteach my body how to process animal meat again. And that's something that I kind of had been thinking that would be healthy and good for me to do, but wasn't really sure that I had the hydrochloric acid to make it happen. And, you know, and it's been really, really great, really grounding actually for me to be able to eat meat again and feel really nourished by it.
That's amazing. And I want to celebrate you because I feel like you're minimizing how much weight you lost, because for your body, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm also 5'2", so pretty short.
Yeah, that's a very big deal. That's how tall Becky is too. And it's us short people don't have a lot of place to go when we fat load. Like there's only so far. and how much like it's a thing. It's a different process. So we all have our own journeys, but I want to celebrate you because that you didn't gain back very much or any at all in between is amazing.
Yeah, no, my
and
maintenance stayed exactly where it was supposed to be the entire time. And I had much more than 6 weeks in between my rounds. It was, I ended in May and then didn't pick it back up again until October, and I maintained all throughout. So yeah.
So cool. And one thing that we haven't spoken about yet that I think is such an important piece, and I know the coaches on here really know this, all of us at varying levels of like the piece around inflammation and what happens when we let our body go through this process and really clear out. Because for me, I'm someone who deals with a lot of inflammation in my body. I deal with like a reactive type of arthritis. I have Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune thyroid. I have a lot going on in my body. And so, when I love croissants, I love sourdough bread, and my body really doesn't want me eating gluten. Anyone who knows anyone with Hashimoto's or, thyroid issues, like gluten is not your friend. And so I will totally slip back into these rhythms. I'll do a cleanse or I'll juice fast, and my blood sugar's all over the place, and I'll be vegan for a while. I've done everything, paleo, keto. I literally have tried everything in the last 10 years to deal with my inflammation, and nothing has cut through and cleared my inflammation the way that the 180 is. And we make no health claims that this is going to heal, treat, cure, prevent any illness or disease. But when you feed the body real food, and when you take these supplements and you help the body to burn off the toxins that it's been storing in a really safe and healthy way, and you're eating all these whole foods, rehydrating the body with a gallon of water a day, to see the changes in everyone's face, just even the face of the inflammation pouring out. And for me to feel like I'm on maintenance, I added back in eggs, I added back in cheese, and I saw my body worker today, and I said, how's my inflammation? And she was like, it's not back. Like, your body is handling what you're doing. And it's so exciting, because I've been used to just dealing with, I think so many of us get used to dealing with really unhealthy levels of inflammation, and to help our bodies to restore a really healthy inflammatory response and kind of baseline is, I think, the biggest gift that we can give ourselves in this time, right? I mean, to be metabolically healthy, to have less inflammation is going to help our immune system to handle whatever's floating around out there that we don't necessarily want to be exposed to or come into contact right now.
Do we want to talk a little bit of breakdown, like maybe some tips for people as they go through it? Awesome. So I have
Kevin, do you need, oh, sorry, go ahead, Veronica.
Okay, cool. Well, I was just super, something I just I remembered is I just got my blood work done just out of nowhere. I just got my blood work done, and I get it every year. And the last 3 years I've had high cholesterol, but it's been healthy fat. So my doctors haven't really worried about it. And I just got it done, and all my cholesterols are now within a healthy range. And he'd asked me, he's like, are you taking anything? What happened? And I do have a supplement, besides our supplements, I have one other one I take, but it's not, I don't really know. I can't explain it, but the 180 is something that's been a major part of my life this year, and my cholesterol is down, which is super exciting. Awesome. So I'd like to just talk a little bit about my tips for going through phase one. Just so those of you that are like new on this call, or maybe you're just getting started, since this is our weekly check-in. One of the things that's great for phase one, like Becky always talks about, is preparation. So I always tell everybody to always make sure, like, I love to cook food. Just cooking for me is kind of my thing. It's how I unwind from the day. So for me to just pull something out of the fridge and heat it up doesn't quite work for my soul. I really like the art of cooking. However, it's what I do at the beginning of every week, which is what Becky suggests doing, is I make a bunch of stuff for grab and goes. So if I'm ever caught in a bind, I have grab and go. So I eat meat. So, you have two meat, so you have two proteins, whether that's meat or whether you're doing the vegetarian route. You have 2 vegetables, and you have 2 fruit a day. And so for me, even though I typically plan to make my dinner, I always have a backup just in case I come home from work late, or if I know I'm going to have a really long day. And so the how important it is to prepare and make sure you have everything individually wrapped and ready to go is probably, I'd say, my number one tip for anybody that's going through. And then also variety. We also train that you want to switch it up. So if you're doing the meat route, it's one meal is fish, one meal is chicken, one is going to be red meat, and your fish, chicken, red meat, fish, chicken, red meat. And you want to constantly be rotating. And then also keeping a really, really good journal. Not just like, I had chicken. How much chicken? What did you season it with? What did you pair it with? And just being so transparent in everything that you're doing. So in case you have any hiccups or you're not getting the results that you want, you're going to bring your journal. Like I said at the beginning of the call, you're going to go straight to your coach, ask for help. And the first thing us as coaches are going to say, let me see your journal. What day are you on? Where's your stats? And we're going to look through and see, because some people's bodies react to stuff differently. And maybe one specific thing just does not work for you. So those are a little bit about my tips. And then also another tip I absolutely love. I got this from Amy Jo Davies. She's one of my closest building partners. And what she does is she puts a note that's like eye level from her scale. So every morning when she gets on the scale, it's a little note of gratitude to her body. And as she weighs herself, she like closes her eyes, puts her hands on her body and just says, I appreciate you, body. I love you so much. And then she gets her drops and starts her day. So adding in that extra self-love and self-care is such an important part of getting yourself through the 180 with positive results. So those are a couple tips I have. I just wanted to drop those in.
Thank you so much, Veronica. I love that. I definitely, a lot of you have heard this before maybe, but the first time that I did it, I was traveling. I was in Hawaii in a strange house, like 45 minutes from Costco with no good grocery, like, it was 20 minutes to get any kind of good meats. And I just wasn't in my zone and I struggled. I didn't have stuff prepped. I would get hangry. It was a lot. And this time I really consciously kind of hermited out. That was what I needed for this journey. And so I stayed home a lot. I really didn't put myself in positions to be in restaurants or around people until I was in maintenance. And I went ahead, like before I started, I went to Whole Foods to get stuff for fat loading. And I asked the butcher to try to cut me up like the 3.6 ounces of as close as he could of halibut. And I got like 20 little pieces of halibut, like stored away. And then I brought home a bunch of chicken breasts and poached them all. And then put them, measured them out and had them in freezers and had my shrimp and had my halibut and then had buffalo portioned out and had fillets, grass-fed fillets portioned out. And it was all ready. And so the chicken was cooked and the other things needed to be, quickly cooked, but it changed everything. Just being totally prepped with my protein, pulling them out of the freezer the night before and knowing what my 2 proteins were going to be, cleaning the veg the night before. I know Kevin does like more prep than that, but there's so many ways to really support yourself to have things as prepared as possible and ready to go. I would love, Kevin, to hear, I know Gloria has a question about transitioning from phase 2 into the maintenance phase, the protocol into maintenance. And I would love to hear some of your tips about exactly how you transition, because some people do a slower transition, after day 33, where kind of for that first week, they're really kind of just adding in one more meal, but kind of staying close to the protocol. Other people are like, give me a ham and cheese omelet and going for higher fat content. But the protein amounts are significant. Like if I'm doing 2 eggs and a couple slices of turkey bacon and, 4 or 5, even 6 ounces of like chicken thighs that I baked and some salmon for dinner, I'm still really low in the protein zone. And people, we've had these amazing results. We really want to nail it with maintenance and make sure that we stay at the weight that we hit. And so I'm curious how you do that. I feel like my body, I'm type A blood, and I've been trying to do a couple scoops of collagen and I feel like it's making me gain weight, which doesn't make sense. Maybe with my autoimmune stuff, I'm not processing it, but collagen seems like such an easy, wholesome, like it's just cow, right? It's just, it's simple. There's nothing else in it, but that doesn't seem like it's working for my body. So I would love to know if you have other tips of like how to hit really high protein without going over in the fats. That seems like a tricky-ish sort of thing.
Yeah, it can be. And I think the guidelines of the protein are there, right? But everybody's body's different. Everybody's nutritional level is different. And so like what you said, you try a supplement and you start gaining weight, that the journaling we do during the phase 2 is a great thing. You need to do it during maintenance. Now you can stop it at that point, but as you're getting back into normal life, it's great to jot down some of those things. And if something you're taking is helping you gain weight, don't do that, right? It's not working for you. We can go and dive into research and we can find out, medically why, or, get into the chemistry of what's happening. But the reality is you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be somebody who understands the nuances of life to look at your journal and say, this helps me gain weight. So, I love nuts. Nuts are good, right? Raw organic nuts. If I have nuts around me, I snack on them and I gain weight. So guess what? I don't keep nuts on my desk anymore, right? I like them and I still eat them. But there's something I go to the cupboard and grab once in a while versus something that's right around me to eat because I will gain weight. And conversely, I love ice cream. And I don't eat as much as I used to, but I found out I can actually eat a bowl of ice cream every single day if I eat it before 7 o'clock and not gain any weight. Right?
That's awesome.
Now I'm not recommending that that's a healthy option, right? So everybody on this call who loves nutrition is going, what are you saying?
Ice cream for dinner. You heard it here first, guys.
So the point is, and I love Gloria's story, the whole point of this program is we get real people, real results, and back to real life, right? Make a few different choices. Recognize the things that were helping you break your body before, right? Not being prepared, maybe eating out all the time, skipping meals, eating late at night. Women are the most dedicated people I know and abuse their bodies more than anybody I know because they're dedicated to whatever they're doing. So they ignore taking care of themselves, right? They're taking care of everybody else, everybody around them, the tasks, the assignments, the things they do. Women are amazing people. In general, guys, we tend to, we're a different crowd, but as I coach women, generally their weight gain issues aren't from just completely eating like garbage. It's from reestablishing healthy boundaries for themselves, right? Putting them, I love what Michelle Hepburn said. She said, I had to put myself first and learn to do it graciously. I love those two components, right? Take care of me first. It's like an airline. Hey, if we crash, mask's going to drop out of the ceiling. Want you to put on your own face first, then help people around you. Same thing, right? Teach yourself to help yourself, establish balance in your life, and then you can help other people. But when we're crashing and burning ourselves, it's hard to help anybody else because we're barely keeping our noses above water. So Dara, back with you. So what I try and teach people is not to drive them crazy with trying to figure out protein levels or protein amounts. I just tell people, listen, you're going to eat 3 meals a day, right? You're going to have about a palm full or palm size full of protein in each one of those meals, whether it's a vegetable protein or a meat protein. You're going to have your vegetable and you're going to have your fruit. Try and keep that logic in your meals, right? Balanced meals. Don't get unbalanced meals. And then if you're feeling hungry or depleted, snack in between, right? Don't always go to fruit for your snack. Snack on some veggies, right? Or snack on some proteins. Grab some nuts for some of those extra healthy fats. If you need to cook with, I'm a big fan. I know people are all over the place on it, but healthy fats to cook with, right? Even butter was like, oh, butter's a bad thing, right? But as I've coached people, if they won't go to maybe some of the healthier fats, butters are real butter, not margarine, not anything processed. Just even cooking with that for breakfast is helping people keep their weight off because their body's actually getting the healthy fats they need versus people have equated, I have to eat something super lean and their body's actually starving. And so it's putting weight on. It's actually the reverse effect, right? So for you, Dara, what I would do is look at that and say, okay, let's get 3 balanced meals a day. And if you're feeling hungry, snack in between. And not stress about the whole 150 grams of protein. If you really want to get it in, then look at the protein shake. So Prime's got a great protein shake, right? So you can go the protein powder route to get those extra protein in because a lot of protein shakes you can get out there, you'll get anywhere from 15 to 24 grams of protein per shake. And so that can help fill that in a little bit if you're.
But not till 3B, right? We still have the first 3 weeks of maintenance where we're not going into
Yeah. So the second 3 weeks of maintenance when everything's on your protocol, because we have some of the starch proteins that are in that protein shake is the challenge. Body's not processing those in the first 3 weeks. So thanks for pointing that out. Does that answer your question enough? I know it's not.
It totally does. I could geek out with you for like another hour about it, but yes, that was a great start. And I will,
and we can ask Becky when she's on these calls, because Becky's going to come from it from a nutrition and from a more of a clinical side. I come from it from more of a practical, how does everybody do this and do this without having to go become a nutritionist for themselves? So that makes it doable for the masses, right? People like myself that my wife will run circles around me when you talk nutrition. I talk practicality and how to get things done, right? That's my strength.
I love it though. We need both perspectives. I'm sorry for the ninja moves that are happening in the background behind me. I hope it's not annoying everybody. Gloria, you had a question.
Yeah, I just had a question. It's about the circle weight day. And I had kind of an interesting combination of weird circumstances leading up to my circle weight day. I can't remember what they all were, but it was like I flew to Tucson and I was ovulating and my digestion had been slow for a couple days. So I had like this whole, several days leading up to circle weight day where I was like 126.4, 126.2. And then circle weight day comes and it's 128, like it jumped way up there. The day after circle weight day, back down to 126. And then it stayed like that for a whole week and then kind of went up to 127. So it seemed like the circle weight of 128 being on ovulation day with all of those other factors was maybe kind of a fluke. And maybe my circle weight should have been 126 because it seems to be that's where things are hovering. And if that's the case, then I could say I lost 27 pounds instead of 25 pounds if I go by the circle weight of 126. But really what I'm kind of getting at is like, where do I need to like have a steak and apple day then? Is my circle weight 126 or is it 128? Do I need to be worried when I get, above 128 or above 130?
It's good questions. And I wish I had a black and white answer for either periods or ovulation as we're talking. Hopefully that's not offensive to anybody, but that's just the reality for women on the program. So guys on the program, plug your ears if it's too much. So we already know if you finish on the program on a cycle, then you're going to go 4 days on the program and then go into maintenance. And when you're talking about the opposite in the spectrum of ovulation, remember water retention is a big part of that. And even just water is 8 pounds a gallon. So if you retain just a quarter gallon of water, you're going to retain 2 pounds, right? So if you're coaching people doing this program, women, and they're going to be on that ovulation cycle, you might see that spike. And so then there's a couple ways you can handle it. You can say, well, let's go ahead and go a few more days on the program past it, and then go into maintenance and see where the weight is. If you really emotionally don't want to do that, want to go right into maintenance, then you almost have to pick a weight. All right, I'm going to pick the 126. I think that's what you're saying, right? 126 is where you're at. So you hit 126 and you go into maintenance. And if it bumps up to 128, you do a steak and apple day, it bumps right back up. You do a steak and apple day, bumps right back up. I would say, you know what? Let's go to 128 and stay there. But if your body keeps dropping down that 2 pounds, that's an indication it really wants to be at that 126. And I would pick that as your weight. So it's kind of one of those things where, was the 2 pound jump water retention, which is most likely, or was the 2 pound jump weight because of habits that were happening? You were traveling, which is water retention. You have that ovulation, that's water retention. I mean, you had so many things stacked against you. My assessment in your case would be your body's probably staying at that 126. What I teach people into maintenance, because we haven't talked about maintenance a long time, in maintenance, or when you're past maintenance, we have that question on the Facebook group. Jessica is asking that question. She went up about 5 pounds. She's been keeping her weight off, has a lot of traumatic things going on in life. Boom, jumped up 5 pounds. What I teach people is if you keep the 5 pounds on for 2 weeks, that 5 pounds is now yours. It's a new set. Okay, now you can drive yourself crazy trying to take that 5 pounds off and watch it come right back over and over again, or you do the 180 again. In her case, it's before the 2 weeks. That's why I tell people, get on the scale. And this kind of goes in with what you're talking about, Gloria. She's like, okay, where do I stay? Where's my body regulating from? So you want to get that set point. For your case, I'd go 126, see how you do. And then from there, you're going to maintain, even after maintenance. I tell people, get on the scale about once a week. Don't be obsessive about the scale. Don't live your life on the scale. We're breaking free of the scale. We're not going to be victims of what that number says anymore, right? But we're going to use it as a tool that's productive. We're going to get on that scale about once a week. And if we're up 3 to 4 pounds, get on the next day. If you're still up 3 to 4 pounds, get on the third day. 3 straight days of being up 3 to 4 pounds, I tell people go back to the phase 2 foods. Don't do phase 2, but only eat the foods in phase 2. 3 meals a day, snack in between if you want, mix all the vegetables you want, have the same foods twice in a row. None of the rules apply. The only thing you're doing is eating a very lean, healthy foods to knock that 4 pounds off real quickly. Once it comes off, you're going to go right back to normal life. There's no back into maintenance. It's just back to normal life. And then you're going to be going up and down that 3 to 4 pounds that our bodies fluctuate through on a regular basis. And so that's a great way. And I keep covering that because I hear a lot of people trying to do steak and apple days for the rest of their life to maintain their weight. And guys, that's not a good idea. That's a maintenance tool. That's not a life tool. So the eating program is your tool for life. If you've gone on, like people go on trips and they get off a cruise and they're 7 pounds up, and they go, what do I do? I'm like, nothing, actually, just come home and eat normal, right? But if in the first 3 to 4 days that 7 pounds is sticking, then go back to the phase 2 foods. Most people finally come off the cruise and the weight drops right down over their first 3 to 4 days. And then they're back to normal because that's where their body wants to stay. Veronica?
I wanted to clarify something really quickly. Thank you, Kevin, for that. So Lisa had asked a question, add breakfast back on day 34. And Dara had answered yes, but I want to kind of clarify that. If you are going by the book and the journal and your first 2 days of loading is day 1 and 2, and then your day 3 is the beginning of phase 2, and you're counting it that way, then you're not going to add into breakfast at the end of that phase 2. You have 3 days. So whenever you end your phase 2, you have 3 days that you stop at the drops and you stay on the phase 2 eating protocol. And at the end of those 3 days, that's when you launch into your breakfast and your maintenance. Yep. So it's kind of tricky days wise, because if you're counting, some people don't count the day 1 and day 2 as maintenance. They just count their phase 2 starting on that as their day 1. So just to clarify that, you want to have those 3-day buffer where you're not doing the drops and you're just kind of training your food back. So just wanted to clarify, right?
And thank you for bringing that up. So I forgot to ask that. Guys, when you get into maintenance, you don't need to do this gradual ramping up. It actually is counterproductive. You need to start eating what your body needs. If you've been 3 days off the drops and you eat 3 meals on the phase 2 program, your body's not getting enough food for what it needs, and it's going to go into starvation mode. Okay. So it is hard to eat, right? When you come off of the phase 2, you get in phase 3, it's hard to eat. So don't try and maybe eat 3 meals, eat 4 or 5 meals that day. Plan it out. Eat smaller meals more often, and then get adjusted, right? But you need to eat when your body's telling you you're hungry. You need to have the right amount of calories and the right amount of foods going through, so your body's not going into panic mode about you're not getting enough, because you're no longer on the vibe drops. You're no longer on that process where your body's going and burning the excess calories and fat. So do yourself a favor, hit maintenance, do your best to get up to the calories you need at least throughout the day. Get those proteins, vegetables in there. I know we're way over time. We went
perfect, because I hit it really hard. I was like, I'm sauteing mushrooms in ghee and with herbs and sticking that with my Parmesan cheese and my eggs and my turkey bacon and a little avocado. Like I go for it. When it's maintenance time, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to eat some food. So I hope everyone else enjoys and celebrates like that too.
I've loved all the information tonight. I wanted to give a shout out to Sherry. She's been on the chats every week, helping and talking all the time. So everybody that's participated tonight in that chat window, thank you so much. It is so helpful. Just your comments, your responses, and Sherry, see you in there all the time talking to people. So a shout out particularly to you. But I'll be quiet now. I'd let you wrap up, Dara. But thanks for having me on. And Gloria, it's good to hear your story. I have more questions for you. I got to have answers from you on your program, because it's good stuff to share with people. But thank you for sharing yourself with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for all your insight, and Veronica and Gloria for all of your tidbits and sharing your stories. I love this conversation. You know, this call is so valuable because it's different every week, and each person who comes on brings their own wisdom and their own experience here. And I think there's so many pieces of this And it's fun to dive into the things that we've all worked through, you know, like Veronica does tapping and works with EFT. And I know she brought that in for herself and the people that she works with, and so many tools for self-care. And I love that the most about this, that it is a way to fall in love with ourselves again and to really, really remember or learn for the first time what it is to truly love ourselves enough to make the good choices and to take care of ourselves and to be open to looking and feeling our best. And that's a big deal for a lot of us. It's a lot of unraveling and a lot of deprogramming. So I'm proud of you ladies, and I'm proud of everyone who's on here that has gone through it or that's considering going through it. You want to wrap us up with your final thoughts, Veronica and Gloria?
Stick to what's in the book. If it's not in the book, don't do it. Stick to the book, reach out to your sponsor, and just know that you trust the process, you'll get results every time.
Thanks, VK. So happy to see you, beauty. Gloria, did you want to share anything?
I just will second what Veronica just said. Yeah, it's easy to want to just like give up sometimes and feel like it's totally crazy that you're doing this, but just keep going, and it's really worth it. It really, really is so worth it. And then the next thing you know, you're just eating amazing food and maintenance.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a beautiful rest of your week and heading into Thanksgiving break. Blessings, everybody.
Love you, Dee.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gloria.